Good coffee morning, YouTubers. Hey, I want to do a shout out thank you to a friend, Sandy, who goes by Environmental Coffeehouse. She shared one of my videos, and I got some new users. And I noticed many of the new users quickly became not new users or new subscribers, pardon, because I speak to things from my perspective, what I've seen and how I've seen it, and it speaks too much to people's faith, and that hurts feelings. And I get that. I understand it. It isn't intended to try to destroy your community, your home, and the place you grew up with, and the people that surround you. But there's a reality out here we're facing. I'm going to use the concept, the term pollution for it, because it's pervasive, it's pernicious in society, and it's truly hurt many great conversations we all should be involved with. So, thank you. Thank you all that joined. And with that, let's have some coffee. This one's a bit obtuse, but for a few decades I flew in and out of major industrial plants across the country, integrating processes and systems and computers into automotive manufacturing, training the people that use these tools, trying to give them some of the thought processes that build the software that runs a whole facility, that actually runs a whole global system of building a car, that starts ordering parts for the car years before it's designed and built, so that the assembly, the parts are all ready in a year when this new car comes online. So I'd fly in and out of plants over decades, upgrading existing automation, integrating it with different systems, from going from broadband to Ethernet systems, network segmentations, systems communications, the subtle conversations that you have to enable between two people trying to talk together, two systems trying to talk together, and the dozens of people that might be involved in doing an integration like that. So I'd fly in for weeks or months or even half a year at a time, in and out. One of the places I flew was Kansas City. I got to see that city grow up and grow out. What you notice over the years is the cities haven't been growing up, they've been growing out. Suburbia has spread out, and the cities have annexed suburbia, giving them massive population centers spread out over square miles instead of condensed into a city. So the word, what that city does, is really blurred. Anyway, flying in and out of Kansas City, I drove by a building, big sign on front, Heartland Institute. Now, the building was there long before I started visiting. And over the decades, as I drove in and out and stayed, and on the ins and outs, I'm spending weeks and months with associates and locals and getting to know the people and staying for weeks at a time. So the weekends I'd go out and explore the country and see the great Midwest. Oh my gosh, the thunderstorms in the Midwest are worth seeing. Unless there's a tornado coming your way in it, which happens too. So you get to experience amazing things all across the country when you travel like that. So anyway, this Heartland Institute building. Now, it's not a big, precocious, gaudy building. It's been there for a long, long time. But that institute is one of those tools out there. It is a massive tool. It's worth kind of going and looking at the history of that organization and how it's funded, what its goals are. Now, oddly, it's funded by some of the largest multinational corporations that you can name. And you can find this information out. And through this Heartland Institute, this money seeps out into teaching institutions and politicians. They even help write legislature that gets scrolled across states through the tendrils of that little innocuous 3 or 4 story building sitting on the side of the highway. When I was working on this industrial automation, the FAA still is going through, this was after 9/11, so the FAA was still good. You remember the air traffic control failure in 9/11? Anyone have half a clue about what went wrong with the air traffic control system? I happen to understand radar systems, so I was asked if I wanted to come work with the FAA contract for some years. It would have meant moving to Kansas City. Probably a very lucrative job in a fascinating area. Can you imagine the data sets tracking every aircraft in U.S. airspace, trying to tie radar systems across the country together that are tracking in real time flight paths for almost every single thing in the air? Now extend that out into satellites and space, because we've been there. We've been doing this management. So the FAA, this is doors in life that are open for you and you don't go in. You walk past and stay in the hallway you're wandering down. So I could have been involved in air traffic control systems at one point in my career, but I avoided that. One of the things on my mind was bringing my family into a place like this. They were already in a not healthy place in Michigan because of politics and personal opinions. So I didn't want to do that. I'd already moved. I've moved more than you people have gone on vacation, mostly so. So that Heartland Institute, it is a big thing. It just sits there and churns through money and tries to figure out how to get it between women's legs and make people active in birth control concerns. When we have this thing called the medical profession that is pretty well figured out, the trade-offs in some of the tough decisions we have to make in life. So this is this insidious little thing, this Heartland Institute. Now they have to report their taxes, so if you like to follow these things, there's places you can find out who gets what money, who goes where, how much the executives are getting paid, kind of where the money goes to some degree. But there's a few places you can find out who's paying your senators and politicians. What I found is senators in Washington getting money from huge monies from Texas corporations, and those corporations happen to be doing federal contract business. If you know the story of Hanford, that's what I'm speaking to. So this is part of my situational awareness program in the asynchronous warfare that surrounds us because of life itself and humanity's struggle to stay on this planet. Peace out. Enjoy the coffees. Welcome to the new folks, and sorry for those that I already lost, but hey, still here. Peace out, neighbors. And again, thanks to Environmental Coffeehouse for the shout out. One of these days I'll catch up with people in real time.